Well, this is why you should think twice before hitchhiking. In September of 1978, Mary Vincent, a 15-year-old girl at the time, decided to hitchhike from Berkeley, California to her grandpa's house in Corona, California. That was when a blue van showed up to offer her a ride. Although she was around other hitchhikers, the driver, later identified as 50-year-old Lawrence Singleton, told her he only had room for one person. Against her better judgment, tired, exhausted, and with 400 miles left to go, she decided to get in the van. As the drive went on, she got tired, fell asleep, but when she woke up, she realized they were in Nevada, not California. She began to panic. But Lawrence, being the slick willy he was, he assured her it was an honest mistake. But she didn't believe him. So she quickly found a sharp stick in the car and pointed at him and demanded he turn the van around to California and take her back to her grandpa's house. Lawrence calmly apologized and said, "Hey, it was an honest mistake." She believed him and put the stick down. A little ways down the road, he claimed he had to go to the bathroom. He pulled over and she took the opportunity to stretch her leg. And that was when he attacked her. During the attack, he struck her and beat her across the back of her head until she fell, and then he raped her and told her if she screamed, he'd kill her. He then tied her up and drove for a while. He eventually stopped, untied her, and ordered her to drink some alcohol. She passed out again. When she gained consciousness, he pulled her out of the van, naked, and ordered her to lie on the edge of the road. She just kept begging and begging him to set her free. And that's when the unthinkable happened. He severed both of her arms right at her elbow, tossed her down the embankment, and shoved her into a concrete pipe. He said, "Okay, now you're free," and she lost consciousness. Well, miraculously, and despite all the odds, she didn't die. She woke up, worked her way out of the pipe, and mustered enough strength to walk 3 miles out of what later found out was Del Porto Canyon. With her arms raised to stop the bleeding, she made it to a highway and flagged down a car that rushed her to the hospital. After the attack, Mary was able to provide the police with such a detailed description of Lawrence that people immediately identified him from the sketch. But unfortunately, this story isn't over. Amazingly, Mary here, who was able to identify and testify against Lawrence. Lawrence was convicted of multiple charges including kidnapping, attempted murder, and rape. And as he was leaving the courtroom, he whispered to Mary, "I'll finish the job if it takes me the rest of my life." Sadly, he got an opportunity to do that. Given only a sentence of 14 years, he was released after 8 years, 4 months on good behavior from San Quentin. After his release, he moved back to his home state of Florida. Then, on February 1997, 20 years after his attack on Mary, he lured another girl named Roxanne Hayes into his home, where he attacked her. After hearing the screams, the neighbors called the police, and they came in to find him covered in blood and Hayes on the floor. She'd been stabbed to death. He was convicted of murder and sentenced to death. However, in 2001, he died of cancer on death row. And finally, after years of trauma and recovery, Mary eventually became an artist and the mother of 2 boys, and claims her life has finally began to change for the better.